That's every For Dummies book, right?
Yeah.
Generally speaking.
How to not be dumb for dummies.
This morning podcast is going to be interesting.
Podcast in the AM seems like a good idea until you're there.
Until you wake up 30 minutes prior.
Yeah. Got some wet hair. Wearing some jammies.
It's 45 degrees in Shreveport-Bossier area. And here's Stephen with the traffic.
We're going to be playing you the tunes in a second, but first, avoid the interstate.
A toilet fell out of the back of somebody's truck on I-49.
What's another kooky thing that can happen on the road? Well, we got a couple more things that we forced each other to watch.
Yeah.
On our appropriately named I'm Making You Watch This. It's funny how that works.
It's like we tried
45 different names for this podcast before we came up with that.
Well, we have, once again for this episode, we picked two pretty about as opposite as you can get.
Fairly disparate. Yeah.
Yes.
Which I think is what makes this fun. We picked I went the traditional route yet again. I went for more of just your classic capital M, I would say, movie.
Yeah, okay.
This is something you can really sink your teeth into. There's a lot there. There's
We'll get into that.
There's a lot of meat to it.
And then I got, obviously, a reality competition show.
Of course.
Cutthroat Kitchen.
Cutthroat Kitchen.
I mean,
Alton Brown.
You read on the iTunes description, is Angela going to make Stephen watch a lot of reality TV?
Yep, that's going to happen. And
I'm delivering here. But we'll go into...
We're going to play to type for a while. We'll shake it up later on down the line. I got some weird ones for you.
Oh, yeah, I have a extensive list.
Oh, I haven't done that. I'm always scrambling at the last second, trawling through Netflix. It's like, has she seen this? Has she seen this? Have I seen this? But,
slacker.
Yeah, I'm dropping the ball.
Well, Stephen picked for me this week Tinker, Tailor, Soldier, Spy, starring Gary Oldman and a plethora of others.
A plethora of white dudes.
Yeah.
It's a lot of British white men.
Yay.
I realized this partway through watching.
Partway through watching?
Okay, in the first 45 seconds,
okay,
I realized this is just going to be a bunch of white dudes talking.
And boy, was it. But I the whole time, when a new character would pop up, ooh, it's that guy. It's that guy. And Colin Firth is in this one.
That's right.
And I thought he was going to be in a previous something we watched, but, Cloud Atlas.
Which the Lost episode.
That aired episode. but yeah.
The infamous Lost episode where we got into
we learned a lot about ourselves.
Yeah, we did.
And each other.
We had a misfire.
Yeah, exactly. Let me see if I can get a quick description up on the Netflix here about it for those of you who haven't seen it. So it came out in 2011. And it says, this gripping thriller about Cold War espionage follows an English spy as he returns to MI6 under suspicion that he's become a Soviet operative. Starring Gary Oldman, Benedict Cumberbatch, Tom Hardy, and then others.
Gary Oldman, emphasis on the old man.
Aw.
He plays an old man. No, I mean, he's doing his Gary Oldman thing where he is not acting like he's disappearing into a role. Because he's playing somebody who feels like 15 years older than Gary Oldman is.
How old is he?
Gary Oldman? I don't know. Probably in his mid-50s, I think. But
40.
I feel like George Smiley is touching 70.
Isn't this based on a book?
Yes.
Did you read it?
No. No, I haven't read. I'm like halfway through 2 different John le Carre books that I've just had like in my nightstand, and I read it every now and then.
Yeah.
But not this one. I've partway through his famous, like the big one is The Spy Who Came In From the Cold. I haven't finished that one yet. And then I also have The Russia House.
Are you into like this whole like genre, like the
not
espionage?
Not like big time. I realized though that a lot of these movies I like. Like I said, the other one's The Russia House. That's a Sean Connery, Michelle Pfeiffer one from like 91. And then like. And this is sort of like the lighter version, but I like the Bourne movies are really fun. They're sort of a similar ilk. Spy Games is another guilty pleasure.
Johnny English?
I have not seen Johnny English.
Me neither. Maybe we'll explore that together. Future.
Mr. Bean. I'm a fan of Mr. Bean.
Yeah. Zazu.
Zazu?
Yeah, he was the voice of Zazu.
Was he?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And in the remake, it's going to be John Oliver, I think.
Okay, yeah. That checks out.
Well, I I was pretty nervous going into this, and I think I told you that before too, over text.
Because it's over 2 hours.
No, yeah, it is, but no, that's not my problem. I mean, I did have a comment about that, but that's not my main issue with this. But I was just, movies like this, I didn't really pay attention in history class a lot, and I don't know. I felt like I would feel stupid watching this, or I wouldn't understand what was going on, and you kind of reassured me that, no, you don't have to necessarily know the background to enjoy this movie, right?
Right.
I mean, but no, I was lost, and I didn't understand this movie.
I don't think that has anything to do with not understanding historical context. I think this is one of those movies. This is something I like about movies. This might be something where we just differ on it. I think I was probably the same way the first time I watched it. This is a movie that throws you into the deep end immediately.
Yeah.
It gives you very little, spelled out exposition from the get-go. You kind of have to piece things together and sort of figure out the plot and who these people are as you go, which I think is probably why I like watching it so much, multiple times, is because each time I watch it, I figure out something different.
I can see
figure
that.
out one other connection.
Yeah.
Similar to like a lot of these spy movies are written that way, or even I think like Ocean's 11 or something like that, where it's like every time you watch it, you can pick up another little clue that they threw, and it's like, oh, I didn't see that the first time.
I could see the appeal on rewatching this over and over.
Yeah.
But, and you said it was a slow burn.
Yeah.
It was.
There's no explosions. There's no car chases.
I was kind of waiting for something. I was expecting something completely different than what I got.
Gotcha.
And like I said, I mean, I enjoyed all the performances and the actors, but I felt like I was working really hard in my mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting.
This is definitely not something you can just lazily watch.
Right. There's no checking out of it. And that was something I caught myself too, because I was worried about, I feel like I'm pretty sure I watched this like a couple months ago. I was like, I'm going to be like texting halfway through, like I'm going to lose interest. Yeah. I didn't. No, it's the same thing. I still watch every frame of this movie. I don't know what it is about it. But I think it's all these like details in the performances, and you just get so involved in trying to figure out this world, which is so specific. And so it like has its own like lingo involved with it. There's all these like code names and things like that they don't ever explain. And if you watch it with subtitles too, it sort of helps a little bit, because they keep you they call John Hurt's characters called Control, and they call the actual I think it's supposed to be MI6, but they call it the Circus.
Yeah. And
so each time like it comes up on a subtitle, it's capitalized. So that kind of helps clue you into like, oh, this is just another name for what they're doing. And I don't know, I really like that. I like that feeling of being lost and having to figure your way out of it and trying to understand it.
Man, I think I'm the opposite.
Yeah?
Yeah, I kind of like things kind of laid out to me.
I mean, that's sort of a big question with how do people take their entertainment anyways? I mean, some people use it as an escape. And I'm not saying that I don't have that. I definitely have shows that I watch where I just don't want to have to think about anything. But then there's other things, too, that you want to get involved in and invested in and get, absorbed into the world, as it were. But yes, this is another one of those movies with a stacked cast.
Woo! You got Tom Hardy, Colin Firth,
Ciarán Hinds, Toby Jones. I'm not sure what Esther House. I'm not sure what that actor. I don't know where he's from.
I don't know. We have the guy from Harry Potter, from the Triwizard Cup. I don't remember his name. It was the Mendel in the movie, but he was also in Harry Potter as like...
Oh, you're losing me there.
He was the guy who like had the mustache in Harry Potter, and he had the dragons in his hand and made them all choose, and like I think Harry chose one and he goes, ooh, or whatever or something, but I think that's the same guy.
I can't picture who you're talking about. Who's he in Tinker Tailor?
Mendel. He's like the guy who's like helps out Gary Oldman.
Oh yeah. He is on this really silly sitcom in the UK. It's Barty Crouch Sr. in Harry Potter. That's who that is. He gets downplayed in the movie. But yeah, he's David Tennant's Barty Crouch Jr.'s dad. That actor is also in this really silly sitcom on Netflix, which I highly recommend, called The Vicar of Dibley, which is about the most British name for any sitcom you can think of. But it's the comedian Dawn French. She's got this really silly sitcom that's been going on for like 20 plus years.
And he's in that?
Yeah, he plays this really kind of like doofy kind of what do you call a member of a congregation? It's not a congregant, but there's like a word for like a person who's a member of a church that they use over there. It's gonna bug me. This is another podcast too. Is Steven can't think of the words.
This is another moment when people are screaming in their car.
Yeah.
I had a couple friends actually say they had moments when they were listening and they were just like correcting us or like filling in the blanks for us, and I thought that was pretty funny. So this is another moment right here.
Yeah. Oh, that's gonna kill me.
Okay.
Right in.
We're just gonna end it.
IMWYT pod at IMWYT pod. That's our Twitter and our Instagram.
Yeah. If y'all know. Let's look at some of my notes here. Oh, I put Mark Strong. He's also in this.
Yeah.
With
not
hair.
playing a villain.
And not bald.
True.
Yeah.
But kind of.
Well, on its way.
But a little bit. They're trying to do like the really sad like.
Yeah. Yeah, Mark Strong. Yeah, not a villain. Like The Kingsman, I think was the first time I ever saw him not as a villain.
And kind of as like the nerdy. He was like the cute character in that too, which is fun.
Mm-hmm. Love that movie.
Fun bit of playing against type. Which one of my favorite cameos in this is you didn't watch Downton Abbey, right?
No.
The girl. So when Benedict Cumberbatch is sneaking in to steal the logbook, the girl who takes his bag and is obviously pining after him, and then he kind of ignores or whatever. Her name is Lady Edith in Downton Abbey, and that's 100% her character. Her character is like the saddest. That the writers did so much terrible stuff to that character. Where like she got left at the altar, she like had to have a baby out of wedlock, and all this like crazy stuff. But she's like always the jilted sister.
That sucks.
Who just keeps getting crapped on the whole time.
Oh.
So she was definitely playing that character to a T in Tinker Tailor.
She does it well, right?
Yep,
Yeah, I thought she did it well.
Yeah, she plays the sad sack.
That's such a terrible phrase. Oh man.
It doesn't. I mean, it's not to be sexist, but it feels especially harsh on girls to call a girl a sad sack. You don't really hear that often of a girl being called a sad sack. That's usually reserved for dudes.
And I wrote. Always, this whole movie is just trying to find like a mole within this.
Right, celebrity mole.
I was just gonna say, remember that show, The Mole,
with Baldwin, Stephen Baldwin. That's the best thing he's ever done.
Truly. I remember Tyler and we used to like go.
Another high school friend. We used to go crazy over that show. It was awesome. It was probably one of the best shows ever, I think. Yeah, I think so. And I think it's who else was in it? It was Celebrity Mole. I don't mean the mole itself I wasn't crazy about. It was honestly just that one season of Celebrity Mole with Stephen Baldwin and the guy from Spin City. I don't remember I don't know his name. I'm not going to pretend like I know his name. But
well, I think they should bring it back.
I feel like they tried, didn't they?
Did they?
I don't know.
Oh.
You know what I liked? A couple of years ago, they would do these really weird one-off like summer reality competitions, but they were themed. They did one called Who Done It, where it was a reality show. So it was like ostensibly real people going, and there was like a Who Done It murder mystery every week, and they all were like in this mansion.
Well, that sounds awesome.
And each week they would kill off one of the contestants, and they'd have to solve that one in the next week.
Fun.
But it was like if you lost, then you got killed off that week. It's sort of like Clue. And then they did another one that was like Lord of the Rings themed. They were I think they called it may have been called The Quest. But it was like from like one of like the producers of Lord of the Rings made it. And it was like, but it was just like in the summer they would do this like fantasy themed reality competition where they were dressed up.
That sounds right up my alley.
It's really silly, but it's really fun.
Yeah.
But they don't do it anymore. It's like ABC would do it like 2 summers in a row and then they stopped doing it.
Well, they got to make room for Lost.
For the Lost comeback.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's hot IP, hot property.
So I wrote down that this took place in like the 70s, right?
Yeah, 73.
73. The second season of The Crown, isn't that kind of in the same timeline?
I think so.
Yeah, because I saw a portrait of Queen Elizabeth in one of the offices.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah,
hey.
look at you making connections.
Yeah. So
Crossover.
so I thought it was pretty interesting seeing like different, I guess, realities or different, snips of time within this same world. I thought that was pretty neat.
Yeah, for sure.
Like you said earlier, there's not a lot of action in this movie. And I was really waiting for.
Did you get bored? That's okay.
I did, yes, yeah. I did. And I told Margot, another high school friend, last night that I was going to watch this movie. And she was like, oh, man, what a boring movie. And I love boring movies, but that is just a boring movie. And yeah, I agreed. The most exciting part in the movie for me was the end, which we'll talk about, but also whenever a bird flew in the chimney in that classroom and Mark Strong just strong-armed it.
Yeah.
And killed it in front of all those kids.
I think it's an owl. I think it's like
was
a full-size
like
owl.
Ooh,
yeah.
I put that owl was bringing a letter from Hogwarts, and Mark Strong just denied it.
Poor young Peter Griffin isn't going to get to go. Doesn't get to go to Hogwarts.
No. Oh no. That letter.
Hogwarts in the 70s. I wonder what that was like.
Whoa. You think we'll ever get a movie exploring that?
I mean, they're gonna milk the
franchise.
Yeah, well, it looks like it's gonna keep going for a bit and sort of investigating Dumbledore's past.
There's controversy with the Johnny Depp being in this.
Yeah.
Which I could see both sides. I don't know. I think maybe they could have found someone else.
Sure. Well, if they could replace Kevin Spacey in a matter of like weeks with Christopher Plummer. You hear about that? That's the All the Money in the World. It's the story of the Getty kidnapping or whatever. Anyways, it's a Ridley Scott movie that they shot and were releasing, like, I think soon. It might already be out, or it's coming out really soon. But then the Kevin Spacey thing came out.
Yeah.
And instead of like changing the release date or scrapping the movie, they just went back and reshot everything Kevin Spacey did in the movie, and he was a big part of it, with Christopher Plummer.
Whoa.
And are still releasing it in the same. But they'd already like released a trailer for this movie with like Kevin Spacey.
Holy crap.
They like went and just redid the whole thing, and it's probably spent.
Can you imagine like
buku
the
money.
Freaking like the mad like people's heads are spinning, I'm sure, trying to reshoot this. I can only imagine.
Yeah, for sure.
Man.
Anyways, but I think apparently Christopher Plummer was like their first choice, but he turned it down. He had something going on. So now he's in it though.
He's like, fine. All in the name for feminism.
I'm trying to fit into like a Von Trapp bit, but I don't. That's the only Christopher Plummer reference I got. He's in other stuff. I think he's been around. He's done some other movies.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Dr. Parnassus. What else is he in?
I was gonna say Lumiere, but no, that wasn't him.
That's a cool mix-up. Jerry Orbach and Christopher Plummer. Yeah, Christopher Plummer. He was in the original Broadway cast of Chicago.
Oh, yeah, sure was. Speaking of Harry Potter, there's a lot of Harry Potter going on today.
Oh, yeah. Big crossover.
Mendel, the character in the movie, and then Smiley, Gary Oldman.
Right.
We're both in Harry Potter together.
That's right.
I love when people are in, like, multiple, like, when they work with each other again for different projects. I don't know, I just think that's fun.
Well, Harry Potter's always like the central hub for all those British actors.
Oh, yeah, I guess you're right.
Everybody, I think, is at some point. If you're anybody in the UK, you've been
in Harry Potter.
Harry Potter. And if you haven't, well, tough cookies. Is that another
tough
one of the
biscuits?
Is that another one of those family specific sayings that I think everybody else says but nobody does?
Oh, okay. So, is
tough cookies a thing? Because that's something we say in my family.
I have never heard that.
Okay, well,
but
that falls under.
To be fair, the other phrase that Steven is talking about is when you're getting tired and you say, "I'm turning into a pumpkin."
Yeah, right.
And
that's another Bailey specific.
I looked at him like he was. I mean, I knew what he was getting at, but I was like, I've never heard of this. But I went to dinner the other night with my friend Kayla from out of town, and the girl next to me, there was a couple sitting next to us, and it was winding down towards it was pretty late, and I heard her say to him, "Are you turning into a pumpkin?" And I mean, and as a freak, I leaned over to her and I was like, "Did you just say, 'Are you turning into a pumpkin?'" And she looked at me like, "What? Yeah." And I'm like, oh my God. And I just went on to how
Yeah.
I thought this other freak friend of mine
Vindication feels
Exactly.
so good.
Yeah. Yep. Like, have you ever heard of an end cap at a store?
No, I don't think so.
Ah, okay. So, like the aisles, like the aisles and like this main one that you go down and like the end where they display the products,
Right,
like the
yeah.
end of an aisle. That's called an end cap.
I did not know that.
Yeah, my friend Kayla, I thought she was making this up, but no, that's a thing, and
Huh.
I'm the stupid one.
Do you have to like work in? Well, I've worked in retail. We didn't have aisles though. But
don't
that
think-
might be.
I don't think she did. She heard it from her dad. Yeah,
Okay.
but I thought she was the only person saying this, and then I kept hearing it everywhere.
Her dad, Martin End Cap.
Don't know who that is.
That's the man who invented the end cap.
It's early, folks.
Coming back to you live with the weather. All right.
103.9.
So, okay. So, all in all, I think like your take was the movie was fine, kind of boring, wasn't really your speed.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Wasn't my speed.
I would say, which
It's
you would classify as like a brisk walk, maybe, or
It was definitely going under the speed limit. This movie was Sunday driving.
for sure.
Okay.
For sure. That's fair. That's fair. What's so funny to me, though, is like this movie, I would say, is just as rewatchable as Hot Fuzz. Like, I have the same amount of engagement with watching something like this as I do something like that. Which I feel like Hot Fuzz is sort of like the peak of for everybody, which is like, if it's on, I'm watching it.
Yeah. That's a general consensus I get, too.
Yeah.
I do. One of the great things about this podcast is just I like to know where your head's at, like with your choices and stuff.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think that's another layer of our friendship that we're peeling.
Yeah. Another ugly, ugly layer.
Yeah.
So that we can slowly dissolve this union between us. Oldman swims a lot in this movie. Swims a lot in the pond. I wonder if that's something that he brought to it, or if that was the character.
I don't know.
He's like, I would really like to swim in this. That's my Oldman,
Yeah.
which I think is fine. I think Oldman, you can do any accent you want
True.
because he's a marvel.
So
he can do
versatile.
whatever he wants. Yeah. Actually, Gary Oldman is one of Daniel Day-Lewis's characters. So it's like whatever Daniel Day-Lewis has run out of options, he actually just goes into Gary Oldman and then gets to play all these other characters. It's like an inception of multiple characters. Toby Jones's character, guy who played Percy. That could have been Jared Harris of Mad Men and
The Crown.
The Crown. That's absolutely right.
Yeah. And Mr. Deeds.
Was he in Mr. Deeds?
He was Winona Ryder's boss.
Okay.
Babe! Where's Babe?
I haven't seen that movie in a long time. If I've seen it at all. So that's another like revealing thing about myself. If I ever tell you, if somebody asks me like, have you seen this movie? Instead of saying no, I haven't seen it, usually I'll just say, I haven't seen it in a long time.
If you haven't seen it, you'll say that?
Yeah.
Why?
A lot of times, because if it's one of those movies, one of the things that I hate the most is when people respond to, have you seen this movie? And you say no, and their response is, what? How have you not seen this movie? That's really annoying.
So basically what this whole podcast is about.
Right. So I lie about it. And I
Okay.
say, I've seen it, it's just been a really long time.
Let me jot that down here. Mr. D.
This is all about, being vulnerable and exposing yourself. That's a weird way to phrase that.
Yeah, well, let's stay away from that phrase.
Yeah, don't leave your wife around Colin Firth. I think that's the moral of this story.
Do not. Oh, but it sucked. Hey, he was like, it's nothing personal.
Yeah.
And he just did it, I guess, for like the job, right?
Well, for like, it's not even that. It's like he's like a hardcore communist. Like it's like his like moral beliefs are like tied into being into that. That's one of the hardest buys I think for this movie is Colin Firth being not that English.
Yeah.
Of not being like the quintessentially British dude.
And he's like the villain.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can't think of another Colin Firth movie where he's the villain.
I wonder if that's part of the casting too, is because were you surprised that it was him at the end?
Yes, I was.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool that they had that kind of reveal. Because the other guys, it's easy to buy. Like, Ciaran Hinds is like an evil-looking dude.
Yeah.
Percy is such a jerk the whole time throughout the movie.
I thought it was going to be Percy.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or, gosh, that other guy, I can't remember.
Esterhaus.
Yes.
The non-British one. I don't know the actor's name. We could probably look it up. Oh, man, my phone's all the way over there, though.
Oh, gosh, within arm's reach.
Who's screaming at the podcast now? It's my favorite actor.
Says.
It's actually Gary Oldman.
No,
Gary Oldman plays two parts.
But yeah, I mean, Colin Firth gets his just desserts.
Dude, yeah, he gets shot. That was an interesting thing because I read something online, and somebody's take on it was that Mark Strong's character kills him out of revenge.
Okay.
I always saw it as a mercy killing. He did it because he knew when he gets back to the Soviet Union, he's going to be like reprimanded or tortured or something.
Oh,
How did you read it?
Revenge.
Okay.
And he was just that Indian tear.
Yeah.
That single man tear coming down his face.
That makes sense. That probably makes more sense than that. That's not the first time I've gotten the ending of a movie mixed up.
Yeah. I like your version or your interpretation of it better.
It's a little optimistic, I guess. A little less cynical.
Yeah. By the way, spoilers.
Well, all 14 of you listening, we're sorry. All right. I'm trying to think. I don't think that I have much else on. I mean, yeah, I don't think enough can be said about Gary Oldman's performance. He doesn't talk a lot, which is cool. A lot of it is just looks and slow turns to camera and things like that. I forgot, the structure of the movie is kind of crazy. I forgot how much of the movie is Tom Hardy's flashback to telling his story, like the Ricky Tar bit. Because that's like 20 minutes long, where he just goes back and retells his whole thing.
And then what happened? She got shot. Okay.
Yeah, that's another one of those, you talk about the swatting the owl out of the fireplace and then her getting shot. There's these really small, punctuated moments of violence that kind of pop out on this really slow movie.
And it made me want more.
More of that. More grisly.
More brains on the wall.
Okay, well we'll find you a gore fest for the next one.
Sweet. But you don't really like that stuff, do you?
I'm not really into horror movies, but
okay.
I mean.
But you're not
excessive violence. I mean, it depends on the movie.
Violence for violence sake, you're not really.
It depends on the movie, honestly.
All right. Well, switching gears here.
All right, let's move on. Cutthroat Kitchen.
Cutthroat Kitchen.
I'm just gonna warn you.
Oh God.
There's the problem with any competitive cooking show for me is that they're all ruined.
What do you mean?
Because of the Great British Bake Off.
Okay, well, you can't
There's no comparison.
No, you can't.
I know. I had to catch myself when I first watched this because I was like, it's not the same thing. They're going for something completely different. Yes. But the Great British Bake Off, it would be hard to argue against for me that there's any better hour of television.
I will agree.
On planet Earth than the Great British Bake Off. It
is the most wholesome, heartwarming, spirit uplifting.
Nothing fills you with butterflies and rainbows and kisses than anything quite like the Great British Bake Off.
Like Mary Berry crunching her teeth into some cookies and biscuits.
Paul Hollywood giving you the wink and
that
the handshake. Oh, the handshake. It's just, it's hard to. So it's again, it's not the same kind of a show. It's very different.
Think of that, and then Cutthroat Kitchen is the exact opposite.
Right. Run as fast as you can in the other direction.
Exactly. Like I said, I love reality TV, and I especially love reality competition shows.
Sure.
Throw in Alton Brown. You got me.
That was when his face appeared on the screen, because I genuinely have never watched this before.
Oh, okay.
I thought I had, but I think I was thinking of
Chopped.
Amalgamation of other shows like Chopped or not Test Kitchen. What's the Ninja Warrior? But it's not that, but it's cooking.
Iron Chef?
That's it. I wanted to say American Ninja Chef Warrior. American Ninja Warrior with knives.
American Ninja Warrior.
$1 million idea?
So you saw Alton Brown.
So I saw Alton Brown. I was like, oh, cool. So I know Alton Brown. I'm a fan of his. But this show, it's mayhem.
Yes.
It's insanity.
Yeah.
I to be very honest, and maybe this was I was just in a weird place when I watched it. I've been dealing with being sick and this job and all this sort of crazy stuff. When I watched it, I was stressed out. It was a very stressful show to watch.
I wonder what your heart rate was.
Because there's so much going on.
Yeah.
So it starts with, Alton Brown, and it's these 4 contestants, and they're all professional chefs from around the United States.
Yeah.
And the gimmick of the show is that it's cutthroat. So there's all these things undercutting what would
Sabotages.
What would be a normal
like
cooking competition?
Yeah.
So it's already a ridiculous cooking competition because they have 30 minutes to make something with what they find in the kitchen.
Which I can't make anything in 30 minutes. Like
right.
I can somehow make a PB&J turn into like 45 minutes. So I don't know how they like cook chicken or like roast beef in like 30 minutes, which is beyond me. But that's why they're professionals and I'm not.
But that's sort of my thing is like then they throw in these sabotages, which are absurd. Like they're so silly. The whole show is just silly.
Yeah.
That there's no really test of like any cooking skill at all because they're so off the wall. Like you don't get to see anybody actually kind of do anything well. So it's almost like they don't even need to be professional chefs. They could just be any random schmoes. I think they're just looking for anybody with like a big personality because it's like American reality TV. So it's all about big personalities and conflict and driving that and, forcing people to say really, really weak, like one-liners back at each other.
What is that about? Like, I mean, is that part of like the application process? It's like a space that says, write your best comeback.
Oh, those are all no. Those are producers are throwing those at them.
You think so?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Those are 100% like writers on the side who are like, "Oh, we've got this really dopey line for you to say," and then But yeah, it's mayhem and it's stressful and it's so like the first round. So we got Joe, Jake, Cindy, and Johnny. Mm-hmm. Each of them professional chefs of some variety.
Yeah.
They have 3 rounds. The prize is $100,000. But it's never $100,000.
It's $100,000 split between them. So the max a person can take home is 25.
Right.
Grand.
Okay. Yeah. That was something I didn't really understand until the end.
Yeah.
Because I didn't understand why they didn't spend more money earlier on.
Okay. Yeah.
Doing that, and then they have these auctions where they auction off these sabotages against each other. One of the first round was they called Black Friday. It's a Thanksgiving themed episode. So this was first of all was Black Friday, which was whoever got it put on them had to use only these ridiculous kitchen appliances that they find on the shelf.
We watched different episodes.
What?
Oh, no.
Did I watch the wrong one? Oh, no.
Oh, no. That's okay. You talk and I'll chime in because most likely I have seen this.
Okay, so this is...
When you said Thanksgiving episode, I'm like...
I may have watched the wrong one because Hulu wasn't working, so I had to go to other sources.
Is Hulu not working for you?
No.
What is going on? We'll figure that out.
I don't know.
But, well, like I said, they're all pretty much the same. So
okay, so this one...
Ooh, I'm going off the cuff here.
Oh, boy.
Closing my notebook.
I think we're still going to get the same effect from this. Mm-hmm. So this was... so this was a Thanksgiving-themed episode. The first one... So this one had... let me see if I could just clue you in. This one of the prep tables was Plymouth Rock.
I have seen this.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So it's like these ridiculous sabotages are happening. The Black Friday one, which is they had to only cook with these kitchen appliances that they find, like a quesadilla maker and a crepe maker and all these things that you give your mom when you run out of ideas. One of them had to cook with just canned food.
Okay.
And the other one had to cook with Plymouth Rock.
Okay. As like their prep station?
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like this huge like plaster molded
rock.
Yeah. So they had to like balance these things on. Like it's I guess it's just like it's its own animal because it's not there's no testing of actual like chef expertise. Would you like a nice bowl of chef's expertise?
The only skill that these chefs really need is to be able to make sure meats are done. That is the only thing you really need on this show.
I was talking to my sister about this and something else she brought up. That was a good point. She's like, is this one of those shows where the chefs just sweat all over their food?
Yeah. Yes.
Like, yeah.
Oh, she watched it with you too?
No. But she, but she made, that's a good point. It's like, it's just these guys get gross by the end of it. Especially the one where there's another one. Yeah. One of the other sabotages where 2 dudes had to be like belted back to back. Which chefs are already sweaty because it's a hot kitchen.
Yeah. And they're
this is one that's
mostly
under TV
overweight
lights.
And have some kind of like high lipid profile, I'm sure. But
Of course.
I don't trust a skinny chef, you know?
Oh.
I have to say.
That sounds like a truism, yeah.
Oh, question for the chefs on the show. Did any of them have like a lot of tattoos or like a rock and roll kind of personality?
Yes.
What is that? Why is there a shift of chefs in that direction? Because a lot of the like cooking shows I watch and like Top Chef and stuff like that, they're all very like punk rock, hardcore, and that's kind of how like chefs are becoming. Like that's kind of the norm now, which is
it's like the rock star status. Is that a Gordon Ramsay thing? Does he have tattoos?
No, I don't think
He's
so.
sort of like the punk rock
Of the cooking
chef world, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess, but
You're more in this world than I am. I think tattoos in general are just becoming a bit more ubiquitous.
Yeah, but especially in like the chef world,
Yeah.
they have, I don't know.
It draws to that hardcore crowd of like, oh, knives.
I want to know
fire.
I want to know the psychology behind like the chef culture or just that whole world where they're very egocentric, and I'm just curious like how it's become that. I don't know.
Maybe it does draw a certain personality because so much is riding on it. I mean, they say that that's one of like the hardest businesses to open as a restaurant.
Oh yeah,
as you would know, coming from a family of restaurateurs. Yeah. No, it's I don't know. Is it similar to? I feel like there's a similar preconceived notion about like surgeons. Aren't surgeons sort of the same thing?
Yes.
Of like being like rock stars.
The whole God complex thing.
Yeah.
I'm trying to rack my brain for who's like the punk rock of the chef world, celebrity chef world, but I'll get back to you on that.
I don't know. I don't know why I say Gordon Ramsay. I'm not like I don't know a lot about him, but he was like coming up in like the 90s, right around like the punk scene, like 80s and 90s,
like his rise to fame and stuff like that. He's not so much punk rock as just like a dick. Yeah, but he's on.
Well, Mary Berry is as punk rock as it gets. You know, she's hiding some sleeves.
Her nipples are pierced.
Moving on.
She has a tattoo that says "soggy bottom" on her butt.
Oh man. Oh, that's gonna be an image stuck in my head.
How do you think you would do on a show like this? Like, do you work well under pressure like that? I mean, obviously, maybe not like that, but
not in this, not chef stuff. No, I don't think I do that well at all. Definitely not cooking. I'm not that versed at all. I can make I'm pretty good at eggs.
It's hard to screw up.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
Poaching is my latest venture.
Poached eggs. Ugh.
You don't like poached eggs?
If there's ketchup on it, I'll eat it.
Ketchup on eggs. Not in that world.
Ah,
I'm not about that.
Welcome. You should join us.
I love some eggs Benny though. I can't make a hollandaise though.
Can't or can?
Cannot.
Oh.
I'm gonna have to figure that out. I think my biggest question about this show is what are they trying to test? Because it's like it's not about testing your cooking ability. It's about testing disaster management, I guess.
Yeah, good one.
Cooking in the post-apocalypse.
Yeah, making the most of it.
Because in a way it feels like a parody of itself.
Yeah.
Which it's interesting because I do feel like Alton Brown is smart enough to know that, to be aware of that. So maybe it's very self-aware in that sense, where he's like, I know this isn't like a cooking show. I'm just trying to make something that's just entertaining. And
I love him in this. He's like his just how he just antagonizes these chefs.
Yeah.
And just man, I bet he's balling because he is all over the Food Network.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
And he also goes on tour, apparently. Like he has a show because I saw some venue in New Orleans or something, and he was doing some kind of performance or I don't know what he was doing, but I wonder what that's like.
Take it on the road.
Yeah.
That's how everybody makes their money these days, I guess.
I did read somewhere that one of like strategies about this show is you don't want your heat source to be compromised. It's like someone who's been on it or something has strategies. You don't want your heat source taken away, or, you know, obviously not the cooktop or whatever, and you don't want your cooking vessels. I think those are the two you can't really budge on. So if something like that gets taken away in a sabotage, you want to spend that money. But everything else is kind of...
That makes sense because especially, like you said, if it's meat, at the end of the day, you have to make something edible.
Yes.
And so if it's something that, if it's undercooked, then you can't eat it.
Who was the judge on this episode?
Bald British guy?
Yes. Okay. Mine too. Jumdar. Simon Jumdar or something like that.
That sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he'd like been on the show before.
Yeah. Sometimes there are a couple episodes where the judges are the contestants, and I love those. He looks like a guy who spits a lot. I talk about like sweating on the food. Like he looks like he was just spitting all over that.
Yeah. And again, not to shoehorn it into this comparison, but it is in a lot of ways the exact opposite of Bake Off, because like aesthetically it's dark, it's very industrial, feels like it's in a studio. It's got the intense music, it's got the fast cuts and all that. And what's missing, what I think is interesting to see, what that is taken away from that, whenever you put them in these sort of impossible situations, is that for them, these are actually impossible situations. You cannot do well at these tasks because
you're set up for failure.
Right.
Yeah.
So it removes any sort of personal onus from the chefs. No one's going to be like, like that guy screwed up. I'm not going to feel sorry for him because he did the best he could in this sort of like ridiculous thing. Whereas what's fun about Bake Off is that when these guys fail, they take it so hard.
So many tears.
And it's never like blaming somebody else. It's never like, like this person screwed me over, or the judges were unfair. It's always like, I wish I had done better.
Yes, even like the whole ice cream
The
fiasco.
Bingate.
There was no blame, really.
Yeah, the Baked Alaska thing. Yeah, because he was already up the creek, as it were. So that's missing from it as well, which is interesting. It's certainly a British sentiment versus an American sentiment. Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, aluminum foil.
Aluminium foil. Bringing the good stuff this morning.
Episode 3 is the final episode of this podcast. Oh, boy.
Everyone hates me.
Screaming at the radio. Yeah, it felt, like I said, it felt like almost like a light Black Mirror episode of just how insane it is for
I've
a reality show.
I've never seen that show. Are you talking about the show?
Yeah. Or like Black Mirror, or like Twilight Zone or something like that, where it's whenever people do like a version of reality TV gone way too far, have gone way too insane. This sort of feels like heading in that direction. But in a weird way, it does feel, like I said, it feels self-aware. It feels like it knows that it's this over-the-top insane thing. Yeah. The question is, does the viewer know that?
They do now.
I think most people do. I think, yeah.
Did you have a favorite sabotage
in
particular?
The Plymouth Rock one is funny of having to balance. I was confused about one of them because I didn't realize, like the Black Friday one, I thought it was like one sabotage, you get to put it on one person, but that one, everybody else had to do it.
Some of them you can dole out to.
That one I didn't realize until later on.
Yeah.
But yeah, everybody had to do the Black Friday, so everybody had to cook with something insane, like like I said, quesadilla maker, or I don't remember what else there was, panini press, crepe maker.
Did any of them use the words rustic or deconstructed?
Yes. Is that a staple of the show?
When something is like a shit show on the plate, you either go for rustic or deconstructed.
Well, that was the bit in the finale. They had to make pecan pie. And the guy who won made a deconstructed pecan pie, but he didn't have any sabotages on him. So he felt like he cheated almost because he went for, because like the guy that was judging it was like, oh, I see that, you must have been sabotaged because you made this deconstructed thing, but it wasn't. He just was that guy.
I love when they self-sabotage. Like if it's the episode I watched, it was chicken Caesar salad and the guy forgot the chicken in the pantry. So he had to like chop up some pancetta and pass it as some chicken nugs. He got kicked off, and he had tattoos and a mohawk. Going back to punk rock chef.
I don't know what that connection is in that. It's weird. It is strange.
I'm curious. Did you have a good time watching it, even though you're stressed?
I think ultimately, it's a silly show, and then I would say I enjoyed it.
People compare this to Chopped, which is, right. I'm sure.
Chopped I've watched before, I think. It's been a while.
It's been a while. Out of those, I think I would pick Cutthroat Kitchen.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I love both.
Sure.
Yeah, but I just love Alton.
I think I get the merits more of American Ninja Chef. No, the top, what is that?
Iron Chef.
Iron Chef. Golly.
No, just call it American Ninja Chef.
American Ninja Chef.
Yeah.
That one I get more because I feel like there's more of a display of expertise. It has the same sort of frantic, crazy running around and sweating on the food and all that. All of them pale in comparison.
Salty. Cut back on the salt, chef. That's my one critique.
Yeah, all of them, are miles short of The Great British Bake Off, which I think we both agree on.
Agreed.
Is that a podcast yet? Maybe that should be our 5th podcast, which is just about Bake Off.
Good grief.
Well, this was an episode.
Yes.
Of I'm Making You Watch This. Episode 3.
Is it 3? Yeah, it is 3.
Yep. Knocked it out of the park. This will probably come out, I think, New Year's Day.
Is that Monday? That is Monday. I'm going to Golden Corral on New Year's Day to eat with my folks.
Fancy.
Celebrate. I'm starting the New Year's right.
There you go.
For the buffet.
I don't have any plans yet. I just needed to not be sick.
Yeah, you've been sick for like a month.
Yeah. It sucks. I'm allergic to Louisiana.
Oh, man.
I honestly think that's what it is.
You think it's the...
I think it's the wet air. I think, honestly, it's the humidity. Because, like people, like in olden times when they were dying of consumption, they would move out to the desert. I think I've spent so much time over on the West Coast that I've lost all my immune system. So anything, if I'm ever under 50 degrees or over 80, that I'm useless now. I've completely lost my Louisiana defenses.
You'll get it back, old boy.
Or die.
You're trying.
Well, until next time, I'm Stephen Bailey.
I'm Angela Kang. This was an AM podcast and...
Didn't hate it.
You're right. I have my coffee. It's just now kicking in. I'm starting to get sweats right now.
Oh, jeez.
We better leave.
All right, we'll leave you on that. Mary Berry, this one was for you. Bye.
Bye.